Hello, everybody. This is Mr. Matthew here, and today I will be giving you guys my reaction of the SpongeBob movie Search for SquarePants. Now, if you doesn't know, I posted the short just a few hours ago when I was in the theater, telling you guys that I will be giving my reaction of the film, and here I am. Um, I came back home and I've thought about the movie a lot since then, and I definitely want to give you guys my reaction. I want to describe the film, the plot, what happens in the film, and I want to like tell you my major highlights and what I really enjoyed about this film, and overall what I think this film really like benefited for me and just for the future of SpongeBob content. So, first of all, let's start. I think the SpongeBob movie Search for SquarePants is really good. Like I genuinely really enjoyed it. I found it really funny. There's so many like funny jokes, so many fun dads. I kept really laughing, and I got really mesmerized by a lot of the effects in the movie that I thought were really good. Um, so I will give you my summary, a little bit of a summary for what happens in the film. So in this film, um, SpongeBob wakes up wanting to become a big guy, to ride a roller coaster. Um, but he gets scared, so he tries to find courage from Mr. Traps to become, the fearsome almighty, has no fear, swashbuckler. But Mr. Travis, he refuses. So he goes in and he summons the Flying Dutchman with a hornpipe, and the Flying Dutchman tries to use SpongeBob in order to break a curse, where he reverts himself back to a human. So yeah, that's basically like the summary of the movie. I won't really like that's what really happens like majority like like in the overall summary. I won't really go in depth in a lot of the elements, but I overall found it really incredible. I really liked the way they took the story with like SpongeBob trying to prove himself he's more mature. Now this is kind of like the first movie, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, and we've seen the whole story of SpongeBob wanting to become mature. We've seen it in Knowing He's Allowed when he tried to enter the Salty Spittoon. And most notably the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, the first movie where he he tries to where he wants to become a man, to become the manager of the Krusty Trap 2. Here in Search for SquarePants, we see that he wants to become a big guy so that he can be like well respected and be able be big enough to like do whatever manly things there are, and avoid like childish things like blow bubbles and whatnot, which they consider childish, but I love blowing bubbles myself, so whatever. you know I'm turning 20 in about in 6 months, but regardless, I'm going off topic. Anyway, um so right off the bat, I want to give some really cool highlights. um Honestly, the movie genuinely like served like everything I wanted. Like first of all, I think the animation is really fluid. I think that even though Sponge on the Run may technically have some better textures, I think overall I did really think that the fluidity of the film really carried out, and I found it um really charming the way the film was animated, especially like the underworld. Like the underworld rotation was really good. And I really think that the characters are honestly really good, and I think they honestly nailed a lot of things right in the department. Um, Now, if I have some complaints, I honestly can't really think of any right now. Not, I mean, the movie is definitely not perfect by any means, but it's like I can't really think of things I didn't like, to be honest, because I find myself really enjoying the film, to be honest. Yeah, I'm saying that. But like I find myself really enjoying the film, and I can't find anything to complain right now. I can't find any. I mean, I know there are some flaws, but you know, but can't really find any for the moment. That's just me, Like this isn't me saying the movie is like flawless perfection or anything like that, but it's just me saying that like I didn't find anything I didn't like. But anyway, I want to list the major highlights of the film. So, uh, first of all, the underworld. I think the underworld is really cool. Like the way they showed off the underworld, the atmosphere of it, the vibes, the monsters. The monsters, the creatures within, and all the battles of like SpongeBob trying to go through these challenges in order to reach the main event. I think they really displayed the underworld in such a really like interesting, really cool way. Like they made it a very different flotation, different SpongeBob flotation. I think everything they did with the underworld was incredible. I really enjoyed, the underworld being the main location of this movie, which I really enjoy. I really love that. Yeah, I found that to be a really cool. Another thing I found to be really cool is that I think SpongeBob has some really cool dynamics with the characters. He's like always goofing around with Patrick. I think the characters are really good. I like seeing SpongeBob and Patrick going around with the Flying Dutchman, and he also has a new character who's his assistant in this movie named Barb. And I thought Barb was honestly a really interesting character. I liked, her non I liked, her being like no nonsense, being all, she just, she's being impatient with SpongeBob and Patrick's goofiness, and she just wants to like, attack them or something. I definitely liked what they did with that character. I thought it was really fun. Um, Mr. Krabs, Squidward, and Daddy have a subplot in the film. Have another plot where they go diving from Davy Jones' Lotter to the underworld to rescue SpongeBob from the Flying Dutchman, which I found to be a really cool plot they added. And I also liked the relationship the movie expanded between SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs. We see definitely like more stuff regarding SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs in this film. I'd say Mr. Krabs is probably the second most important character here, right after SpongeBob in this film. And speaking of Mr. Krabs, you can tell there's definitely some focus on him because some news came out that this movie was actually supposed to be a third spin-off movie centered on Mr. Krabs. So if that were the case, I think the movie definitely shows, considering there's like there's definitely like a really I won't really go in depth in it, but there's definitely a very big major factor when it comes to Mr. Krabs' character in this movie. And I think, it's definitely why, I could tell, yeah, they were definitely planning, for this to be a Mr. Krabs movie, but somewhere along the lines, Paramount, changed it to just, being a SpongeBob movie with pirates, but, have Mr. Krabs be a major focus, which, is cool, but even though I would have liked to see a Mr. Krabs centered movie, I still thought, like them doing it in the SpongeBob Search for SquarePants setting was honestly really cool, yeah. Honestly, there's even some locations I recognize. Like there's this repair shop where Squidward, Mr. Krabs, and Daddy go to a repair shop to repair the broken, when the vehicle gets broken for like one scene in the episode. And I noticed that because a few days ago I actually played the Search for SquarePants DLC on Titans of the Tide. So I was like, that's a location from the Titans of the Tide DLC, Search for SquarePants DLC from Titans of the Tide. I was like, wow, wow, yeah. Honestly, you should really check it out if you haven't. I think I've played the Titans of the Tide Search for SquarePants DLC, and it's really good. But anyway, um, other things I really liked about this film are, like I said, I really liked the vibe of the underworld. I thought it was really a cool location, for this movie to be centered on, which I found it really enjoyable. Um, and I have to say that overall I had a really great experience. Solid film overall. I definitely don't want to get into spoilers here, but I definitely think that I think the Flying Dutchman had some really fun interactions with SpongeBob, and there's honestly some genuinely, yeah. Let me touch upon the jokes. I think there's some really funny jokes in this movie. Like a few examples are in the beginning of the film. There's like a joke where a narrator like where like there's this like old sailor narrator trying to narrate the film, and the ship like keeps rotating around, where he's like, our story be once upon a time, a long, long ago, and then and then and then he slides away, but then he tries to narrate at the end, but he slides away then, and then he tries to narrate at the end, and he slides away at the end. It's like I don't know. I found it so funny the first time I saw it. That was a really fun way to open the film. Yeah. I also want to note something interesting. This is like the first theatrical SpongeBob film since Sponge Out of Water. And Disney and Sponge on the Run only came out in a few theaters, but it was COVID, so it didn't really have much to do it. This is definitely the first, actual like proper theatrical release since Sponge Out of Water, which came out 10 years ago. Plus, this is my first experience watching a SpongeBob film in theaters. Myself, considering that I wasn't born when the first movie came out, and Sponge Out of Water, I was a kid, but I didn't have theater access, so I remember I watched it from like, bootleg website and stuff like that. But you know, um, but like that was like 10 years ago. Sponge Out of Water is a really good film. I really enjoy it, and yeah. Okay, so I think I'm gonna wrap things up here. Overall, uh, major things I want to give. The voice actings are great. The voice acting, every performance, I think nails the role. The animation looks pretty solid. I think the jokes are really good. There are some genuinely funny quips, especially with SpongeBob's interactions with the Flying Dutchman, which I thought were really fun to watch. And Mr. Krabs was honestly really good in this film. And the scenery with the underworld is genuinely fascinating, and I really, really enjoyed, the moments we spent in the underworld, not gonna lie. And I will not spoil, but like there is also a section in the climax where it's live action. I'll just say there's, like the majority of the film takes place underworld, but there's like a climax, that happens in live action. That's what I'll say in the surface. Yeah, similar to the first movie and Planted in the movie, where it's like the surface isn't really like beforehand in the movie, but it appears like near the end, and then the climax. There's like the surface. Like, similar to the first one, SquarePants movie and Plankton the movie. So yeah, overall, I would, I think I give this film an 8 out of 10. Solid film, great. 9 out of 10. I mean, I don't really do. I'm not really like that into ratings, but I would just say like if I were to give like one word as a rating, I'd say great. I really enjoyed it. It's really fun, really great. I'd say 9 out of 10 would be benefit. Yeah, I really liked it. So uh, I think that's it. I think that wraps up the film. Really great film, really solid film. Honestly, if you're a SpongeBob fan, or if you're interested, or if you were kind of hesitant, I definitely recommend giving this movie a shot. If you're a SpongeBob fan, I believe you should definitely go see it. You should definitely go see it, and I think there's definitely some things you will definitely really find enjoyment out of here, and I really like that. Um, so yeah. So yeah, if I were to rent it upon the other movies, I would say the first SpongeBob SquarePants movie is the best. Still, yeah, I'd still say it's the best. Sponge Out of Water, I don't know. I might think about whether I put it above Sponge Out of Water or not, because I do really like Sponge Out of Water. It's definitely better than Sponge on the Run and Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sunny Cheats movie. That's no, those two. Yeah, no doubt. Search for SquarePants is better than those two. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. And Plankton in the movie, now thinking about it, I actually do think it's better than Plankton in the movie, not gonna lie, yeah. I would say it's probably in third place, the SpongeBob movie Search for SquarePants. Number one, if I were to go from best to worst, number one would be the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. Number two, Sponge Out of Water. Number three, Search for SquarePants. Number four, uh, Plankton the movie. Number five, Sponge on the Run, and number six, dead last, Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sunny Cheats movie, of course. So yeah, what a great film! Really great, enjoyable film. Huge recommendations from me, and overall some really cool visuals, and I'm really excited for what happens next. I am planning on doing a video where I discuss major SpongeBob content that came out in 2025 this year, since I think it would be a really fun video to look back at all the SpongeBob content, all the episodes and whatnot that came out this year that I feel like would be worthy of discussion. So yeah, so stay tuned for that video. I will think about making it tomorrow. Um, so stay tuned for that video, and I'm really hopeful and excited for the upcoming SpongeBob products coming out because we're done at that. Hopefully next year we're done at the release of the new episodes with season 16. The episodes that didn't title Happy Krabby Birthday, um, Karate Pals and Terence Slouch. And maybe we can get season 5 of the Packet Store Show as well. So yeah. So anyway, thank you all for watching. Be sure to check my channel if you're interested, and I am really positively happy with having you all here in this video. So yeah, have a peaceful day, everybody.